Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to My Deep Guide. Well, Boox has just announced two new products, a Tab Mini C and a Page. So let's check out what those products actually are. So let's start with the Tab Mini C, what it actually is. Well, the Tab Mini C is the latest addition to the Boox's lineup of portable 7.8-inch e-note taker devices. This line of devices has been called, up until now, the Nova devices, and the last edition that we've seen was the Nova Air C, which the Tab Mini C actually supersedes. However, it is being marketed and named as a portable tablet PC, hence I guess the rebranding name and its name being changed to Tab Mini C. So what's the main difference and what's the whole point? Well, Tab Mini C is also the first 7.8-inch device from Boox that comes equipped with their own GPU that is responsible for performance and display clarity improvements. And as we've seen from previous Tab devices, it really does work. However, what we've also seen is that the clarity gains that it brings to the table, they're not that consistent, as the Tab Ultra and the Tab Ultra C are generally quite a bit cleaner looking than the Tab X is. So we will have to wait and see how the GPU performs on the Tab Mini C. Tab Mini C is also the first 7.8-inch device from Boox that comes with the new Kaleido 3 panel. On the Tab Ultra C, the new Kaleido 3 panel was exciting for the color, performance, but also very important fact that it bumped up the black and white resolution density to 300 ppi on a 10.3-inch device. Now on the Mini C, black and white performance is still going to be 300 ppi, and that's a little bit less exciting because it's been at 300 ppi for years now, so no significant improvement there. However, the color resolution density has been improved to 150 ppi versus the 100 ppi on the Nova Air C. So that is something that's definitely a considerable improvement that we should see a real-world difference in usability. Overall, I think that it will be interesting to see what this tech combination brings to the 7.8-inch lineup of devices on the market in the form that Tab Mini C actually represents. The promo images, it looks like the Tab Mini C is using the same exact design of the housing, the same pen, the same pretty much everything as the Nova Air C. There's one thing that looks a little different from the Nova Air line, and that is the slight bulge on the back of the device. The bulge is being advertised in the press release as a curved, smooth shape that not only enhances aesthetics but also provides an ergonomic grip, allowing for prolonged reading sessions without causing fatigue in your hands. Well, that very well may be the case here, but what is not provided in the press release is the information about the thickness and the weight of the Tab Mini C. Why would that be important? Well, because of that GPU that we've talked about, and it's a GPU-enabled device, and that GPU is very power hungry. So the Tab Mini C comes equipped with a gargantuan 5,000 milliamp capacity battery versus the 2,000 milliamp battery that we've seen in the Nova Air C. So this battery is necessary for the device to churn out acceptable operation times, and despite it being more than twice the capacity, the battery itself, I think that we will see lower battery operation times than the ones that we've seen on the Nova Air C if the Tab Ultra and the Tab Ultra C and the previous Note generation of devices are anything to go by. Also, such a large battery will take up more space and add significant weight to the device. And I suspect that that bulge that we see on the images is there to accommodate that big battery. If that's the case, then that means that the Tab Mini C will be significantly thicker and heavier than the Nova Air C. It is a 100% guarantee that it will be a lot heavier than its predecessor. That's just a physical, unavoidable fact. The thickness, we will have to wait and see, as I'm still waiting for the reply on that piece of information, but I would be fairly surprised to see that they were able to cram so many battery cells in a beautifully thin format that we've seen in the Nova Air and the Nova Air C. Tab Mini C still runs Android 11, which at this point is quite frankly too old, especially when we take into consideration the fact that Boox devices never get an upgrade of the actual Android version, the system version. Yes, the Boox OS versions are being updated across the exciting lineup of devices in a nice way, but the underlying operation system always remains locked. So if you've purchased a device that had an Android 9, it will remain at Android 9, Android 10, Android 11, so on and so forth. So that means that Tab Mini C comes with Android 11 and it will remain locked for its entirety of its existing. That is an issue. It also will come with a tab version of the OS, which will be interesting to see how it actually translates to the smaller form factor of the Nova devices. But this also means that the issues that I've had with the user interface and the user experience, they're likely to remain the same on the Tab Mini C as well. You can expect unprecedented levels of freedom and flexibility, absolutely, but you can also expect a very unintuitive and inconsistent user experience with a fairly steep learning curve. The learning curve is worth overcoming in most situations, but lately Boox have introduced a trend of actually changing up the UI so often that the user has no time to get used to learn the intricacies of the system before it's all changed up again, and it usually gets changed in such a way that it will require you to relearn things again and again and again. This can not only be frustrating, because it is, but it can also be an off-putting element that needs to be taken into consideration. As far as the specifications go, well, it's basically a Nova Air C on steroids with Kaleido 3 GPU, accelerometer, and a gigantic battery. So it has an octa-core CPU, 4 GB of RAM, 64 GB of storage ROM. It doesn't look like it has a micro SD card slot, still waiting on a confirmation for that, but from what I've seen, it doesn't have it. And it's very nice to see that a G sensor, meaning auto rotation, is finally a thing because it's been added to the Nova type device. That's something that in my own personal opinion has been lacking, and it's a nice thing to see there. So generally speaking, it seems like a genuine powerhouse of a device, except that it's now crammed into a smaller format of a 7.8-inch device. The retail price is $449.99, so $450 or 500 euros. And that is a lot for a 7.8-inch device. Then again, on the paper at least, it appears that you do get a lot in the Tab Mini C as well. The only question that you'll have to kind of ask yourself after we, go through the device unboxing, review and everything is basically, at that price, and less actually, you can get a 10.3, brand new 10.3-inch non-color device like the Note Air 2 Plus. And that's an excellent device. So I think that it will come to the individual's needs, and it's pretty much a subjective decision, but one should definitely be keeping this in mind when considering the Tab Mini C and its price range. Now on to the second product that they have announced, and that is the Page. So what is the Page? Well, Boox Page is the all-new 7-inch dedicated e-reader device from Boox. Seems familiar? Well, even though it has been rebranded to Page, it's unquestionably the Leaf 3. So don't get confused by the new name, it's just a rebranding thing for whatever reason. As far as I'm concerned, Leaf 2 was mostly an excellent device that I really loved, but it was still slightly underpowered. This is where the new product, the Page, comes through, as it finally addresses this issue head on. Page comes with an octa-core CPU this time and an upgraded configuration of 3 GB of RAM and 32 GB of internal storage. So that's very exciting to see, as it addresses, as I already mentioned, the main shortcoming that we've already seen in the excellent Leaf 2. 2. I think that users also will be pleased to hear that Page still has a micro SD card support like the Leaf 2 did, but that also means that because you have an SD card slot, there is no IP certification, so I don't think that it's waterproof or splash proof, so you can have either or. As far as the design goes, it's using largely the same design as the Leaf 2, which is pretty much exciting thing to see because I liked how the Leaf 2 was designed. The back seems to have gotten a new design pattern, which definitely looks nice, but overall it's basically Leaf 2 housing in with a slightly different paint job. The only things that I wish they could have included as a physical change is basically a light separation between the built-in customizable page turn buttons that they have. They are right next to each other, and that was something that I think that a slight gap would have been a nice thing to see, as you could actually just simply feel when you're pressing one or the other button, and it just makes things a little bit more clear. So that's the only thing that I disliked about Leaf 2 as far as the design goes, and it would have been nice to have seen this addressed, especially when they actually rebranded the product to be named Page and not Leaf 3. Page also comes with the Android 11, and I have the same exact commentary on this as I did for the Tab Mini C. So I will not repeat myself here. It would have been necessary, in my own personal opinion, at this point to have seen an upgrade to Android 12 standard and associated security patches. Page should be directly compared to the Leaf 2, and when you do so, it is obvious that it's an iterative but a good iterative update to the platform. It has more power, more RAM, slightly bigger battery, up to 2300 milliamps from 2000 milliamps in Leaf, but it also means that at 195 grams, it's 10 grams heavier than the heaviest version of the Leaf 2, which was the black version. And while those improvements are nice, it does come at quite a significant price bump, because Page is 25% more expensive than the Leaf 2 at $250 versus the $200 for the Leaf 2. So it would be easy to be tempted to compare the Page to Kindle or Kobo devices and then say, oh, well, that's the price range and blah, 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 blah. But you simply can't do that, because this is an Android 11 device with Google Play Store functionality. And as such, not only does it offer the freedom of having both Kindle and Kobo libraries on the same device, but also the full freedom and multifunctionality of an Android tablet, but in a super portable 7-inch format. Yes, reading Kindle and Kobo books will always, unquestionably, be superior to those respective devices, because the state of the apps on Android they're simply not as good as the readers that are built in those respective devices, right? But the fact that you actually can read them and do so much more as well on the side and is an important one. And when you actually factor that in as well, well, then this price starts to make a little bit more sense. So what are my thoughts about these two new devices? Let's start with the Tab Mini C. At the core of it, it looks like the Tab Mini C is simply the Kaleido 3 and GPU-enabled version of the Nova device that has been on a solid diet of eating exclusively battery cells, right? Tab X didn't gain any thickness, but that is because it has a huge room to spare because it's a 13.3-inch device. But it did gain weight because of a larger battery. Then again, it wasn't such a huge change because the standard Max also came with a very, very big battery. So the bump from, I believe it was 4,200 milliamps on the standard Max 3 up to 6,200. Yes, it's a big bump, but it was not such a major difference. Now, Note line of the devices, now rebranded into the Tab Ultra and Tab Ultra C, did get a significant bump in thickness and in weight, and it's only reasonable to expect the same thing to happen to the Tab Mini C as well. Now, if that is the case, then the very name of the product is a bit of a contradiction, as it would then make it a Nova Maxi. But I guess if you compare it to the Tab Ultra, then it really becomes a Tab Mini. Funny how marketing works, isn't it? Either way, I'm not surprised by this addition, as Boox doesn't seem to be moving away from their business strategy of iterating new devices on a, well, ever-increasing basis. It's like a quarterly basis now, instead of actually focusing a lot more, on improving and solidifying the functionality of their already existing lineup of devices. I am convinced that the Tab Mini C will have blistering performance and will dominate the Nova Air C pretty much in every respect except for battery life, weight, thickness, and consequently, because of these two, portability, which funnily enough is the whole point of a 7.8-inch device. So there's that thing to kind of keep in mind. I don't know about you, but I personally would rather have seen a thinner version of the Nova Air, but this is what we got. Now, when we're talking about the other product, the Page, that's a different story. I do like it, and I think that they have sensibly addressed the handful of issues that Leaf 2 had, key one being the lack of performance. Now, it sounds, at least on the paper, that it's a powerful device, and we should see a significant improvement in overall snappiness and operation time on the Page, which is definitely a good thing to see. The only thing is, well, it's irrelevant, but why is it now called Page and not Leaf 3? That's a little bit confusing. Anyway, let's wait and see how these devices are actually in reality once the review loan sample devices arrive. As soon as they do, I will be sure to bring you an objective and impartial look at both the Tab Mini C and the Page upcoming devices from Boox. Well, there you have it. We have Tab Mini C and the Page. Tell me, what do you guys think actually in the comments down below, because for me, I shared my opinions here, shared the information and a little bit of my opinions, but it's going to be definitely interesting and useful to hear what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, please do like and subscribe to the channel and ding the notification bell in the description below to get notified when new videos come out on My Deep Guide. Also, if you do like the content that I bring to the channel and the work that I do check out the mydeepguide.com/shop, and you can check out the MDO there. What is MDO? Well, MDO is a hyperlinked PDF file that satisfies all of your yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily organizing and diary keeping needs, whether it is for your personal or professional needs. It works on a multitude of devices, and you can also find in the description down below a dedicated MDO playlist which contains videos that have a ton of very useful information that can help you determine whether MDO is the right product for you or not. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye!